Okay then guys, what is going on? Cloud Plays here and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today we're inside of Wayfinder as we finally get a load more information from our guy Sir Snarf with a load of stuff after the global closed beta announcements. We've had everything moved in and they've made all of their community changes and we're going to be taking a look into that today. So if you haven't already, smash that beautiful blue thumbs up and subscribe, but post notifications turned on, it'd be greatly appreciated. With that being said, let's dive on in to some Wayfinder. So the global closed beta retrospective. They state right here that the recent global closed beta brought in the largest number of players we've seen yet. It was truly incredible to see so many Wayfinders curious to explore Evernorth and provide constructive input. Each playtest has been instrumental for us to enhance and improve Wayfinder, and because of all of your feedback, it's tough to imagine what a Wayfinder would look like without our remarkable community supporting us every step of the way, and we can't thank each of you enough. Here are just a few numbers of the closed beta that we know of right now. 183,691 hunts completed with bosses slain. 13.6 million enemies killed with 852,000 baby spiders being squashed, and 415,000 expeditions into lost zones completed. Now the global closed beta takeaways and next steps. While they've fixed close to 2,000 bugs since the test, they've been working harder adding things based on your feedback into the game so that it's ready. We hit early access this summer. Now, in the Wayfinder website, Sir Snarf actually has a load of videos that you guys can go and check out where he breaks down individual topics, but we're just going to go through the notes around it, which essentially change a lot of things. So combat and movement, targeting, and defensive maneuvers, these are all changes that they have seemed to make inside a Wayfinder, and just based on my experience inside of the game, I would say that this was really good that they've kind of looked into this a little more. As far as I'm aware, the defensive maneuvers is probably going to be the bit that I am excited about the most, because I don't like that you can't cancel out of animations mid-fight. That is just my personal opinion, and feel like that the defensive maneuvers are going to make a difference, but we're going to dive into that in a second. Combat movement. As cool as sliding past your enemies without a care in Evernorth looks, sometimes that's not the intention. We're disabling forward movement if the target is in active hit range to avoid overstepping and sliding past them. This will prevent players from directly intersecting the enemies less often, and added benefit to improvement visibility. Great job. Definitely a great job. That's the last thing that we need. Sometimes you go to hit people and you slide straight past and you go beyond them. It's actually infuriating, but they've managed to fix that. Anyway, targeting. They go in to say that stick into your intended target. We're fixing a targeting issue with all weapons that was most felt when using two-handed weapons. Sometimes in combat, players would slide attack but move past their intended characters and frequently switch targets. We're making changes that will allow players to stick to their desired target more consistently, as well as making lock-on camera improvements. Additionally, we're fixing a bug where dead enemies would remain a viable target unintentionally, and could cause players to remain targeted to the dead enemy and keep sliding past their intended target. Again, quite an infuriating one, something that they needed to change anyway. Isn't really much of a big one. I think that this is something that should have just been sorted regardless. We didn't really need much of a paragraph on that one, in my personal opinion. But this one right here, the defensive maneuvers. Previously, players could only parry, block, and dodge at specific frames during melee attacks. Completely infuriating, by the way. It kind of like gives you a segment in between attacks where you can do it. And additionally, and understandably, that didn't feel great when reacting to enemy attacks. We've improved the interrupt window significantly so players can parry, dodge, and block at any frame during melee combat to improve flexibility and responsiveness. We've also worked on stabilizing the attack warnings to make it easier to correct time interrupts across all enemy types. Great job. Massive game changer for me personally, especially when it comes to the combat side of things. It's something that you just need to have. We need to be able to cancel attacks because some of them are quite lengthy in their animations. It's a little bit infuriating to say the least. So going on to short and long-term progression. As far as the short-term progression goes, there was something that a lot of us were screaming out for quite big time, to be completely honest, and it was the fact that people wanted the ability to pick and choose the order of their abilities to unlock. So they're making that change right away. I love that they actually listen to their community. It's my most favorite part about this company. Airship Syndicate is just one of those companies that just do this really well. But they go forward and say, additionally, while we have a lot of systems in place for progression, one that we think needs clearer goals for players is long-term progression. We don't want you to feel like you're missing out when not playing your main character or favorite weapon, so we're folding in some of our planned systems for character progression and implementing them on an account level. This means more meaningful long-term progression beyond small stats boosts into full-blown abilities and power-up that you can earn at the account level via archetype and armory level progression systems. While these won't come online until later towards full launch, we'll have more on this later. This is a very good one, and this kind of leads for a little less replayability if you want to go down the different characters route, but this is a very, very cool attribute all the same. Being able to compile it all account wide for more casual players, this will be really, really good indeed. So you kind of got to give them props where props is due. Now, echoes. The echo system is something that they love about Wayfinder, and while feedback from players has been positive, it's clear that it can be confusing at times. We're going to be simplifying echoes by organizing them into clear categories such as attack, defense, etc. We're also going to introduce a broader range of echoes that are not just statistics and allow for even more diverse builds. You can never complain about that. I'm going to breeze straight over that one because one, they should be really categorized anyway. I think it makes a lot more sense, and two, the fact that they can give us more that aren't just statistics, it's freaking A grade to me. A grade to me. Now, enemies and enemy variants. With millions of enemies failed in the last beta, we received a ton of data and feedback to pour over. What we found that encounters with our broad range of enemies need more variants. For example, a smaller monster could have the same time to kill as much larger mini boss you'd find in a Lost Zone event. We're going to be addressing this by having a bit more variance in enemy encounters, and players should expect to find weaker swarming enemies alongside more powerful foes. This should improve the dynamic of gameplay and make for even more engaging experience. Again, pretty basic maneuvers, but the fact that this wasn't in the system before and they've noticed it is a huge win in my personal opinion. Now, something here that we're going into is the social systems. This was something which it questionable inside of Wayfinder, and this was one that me and my friends personally found quite irritating, but they state social system. At its heart, Wayfinder is a social game. We heard a lot about the limitations to in-game chat, and we're implementing a series of quality of life improvements to our entire chat system. First and foremost, you'll be placed in your region's chat by default so you can better coordinate a Lost Zone expedition or just compliment someone on their die choice. Global chats will still be there, but won't be what everyone sees upon logging in. We also are enabling localized chats. This means that if the system detects your language as Brazilian Portuguese, you'll be in there with other players who speak that language. You can also opt into a language if it's not selected by default. We're also improved our spam detection across the board. And yes, you'll be able to resize the chat window so you can see the memes easier. I absolutely love that. Whether that will be coming across on console though, so you can resize the chat window on console, yet to be seen. We can never really do anything like that on console, so we'll have to wait and see how that one goes. But as an overall though, as far as anything social wise goes, this game is a little bit skeptical on it. The one thing we found quite difficult was the online multiplayer of it. Me and my friends being able to like communicate and play together was a little bit of a confusing outfit. The reason why is because the game doesn't actually really tell you anything. Now, this might just be because it was the beta, but it doesn't really tell you how to play it too much. You get the bare basics, and it doesn't really stem much further than that. The idea for multiplayer, it's not layered out for you, at least not in an easy route. And even when we did manage to figure out how to do it, the friends list was broken and we couldn't access things properly, and it was a little bit frustrating. But it is a closed beta all the same, so I'm hoping that they managed to fix that. And Mr. Snarf, I enjoyed every one of those videos for the record. Thank you so much for your entertainment. I'll leave the link down in the description, guys, for the playwayfinder.com website, so you guys can go and check that out. We've got loads and loads of information that's going to be coming up soon, with the early access coming this summer. Thanks again for watching, guys. Appreciate all your faces. If you haven't already, smash that beautiful blue thumbs up, subscribe, post notifications turned on, and as always, up until the next time, I'll see you in the clouds.